Good morning and welcome to a very wet Blee Tarn. Today I'm doing something very different. I'm actually on a one-to-one, but it's not a photography one-to-one so much to speak, it's a videography one-to-one. I'm with a chap and he wants to start his own YouTube channel, and so today we've come out. I'm going to show him some of the ropes. So this is the Canon M50 that I use for filming, and the great thing about this is you've got the flip out screen so you can see what you're doing, you can actually see yourself. But one of the most important things about the M50 is the dual pixel autofocus. So this is now locked on your face, and if you move around you can see how that is tracking you. We can pop it back onto me, and this camera's about, I think it's about £550 for the camera and the lens kit, but that auto focus is probably the best at that price bracket. So allow me to introduce you to Clive. And Clive's an experienced photographer. He's come all the way from Kent, and you're going to be spending the weekend with me, and we're going to be visiting some of the best locations in the Lake District, and we're going to be shooting a little bit of video and doing some photography and just hanging out really.
Yep, bit of fun.
Bit of fun. So what are you hoping to get out of this weekend?
I don't know anything about video. I've tried to do it. I watched quite a few people on YouTube, you included, Thomas Heaton, lots of other people, and I appreciate there's an awful lot more to it, and rather than trying to make a bad job of it myself, I can make a bad job of it after you taught me how to do it.
So Clive, what do you want to do first?
Well, we could try the drone.
So you've got, is it a Mavic?
It's a Mavic Mini.
Mini?
Yes.
So I've never seen one of these before, and I don't have a drone myself.
Okay.
So I'm really interested to see this. If you want to get that out, and what are you going to be looking for when you're flying the drone?
Well, around here, the drone can actually get to places, obviously, that we can't get to without getting very wet. So I'm going to fly it out over the loch or tarn here and see what reflections I can get from angles you can't get from the ground level. So let's give it a go.
Perfect. That's quite an amazing little thing. That's very small, isn't it?
Yep, 249 grams, deliberately designed to be that weight so it fitted under the regulations.
So if I were to get one of those, I wouldn't need to register with the...
You wouldn't need to register, but it would be a responsible thing to do.
Of course. But we're not here to fly drones.
No, certainly not.
We're going to take a photograph, and more importantly, you're going to take a photograph.
Oh, do I have to?
So now we've got the B-roll of you putting the camera on the tripod.
Yep.
The next thing we need to do is to film you actually explaining what you're doing.
Okay.
Now it's very tempting to try and cover every single thing, all the settings, all that kind of thing, but what we want to do is just focus on what's really important. So what you need to do is when we're doing this is just explain why you've gone for a panorama.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm seeing this image today, and we've got a fair amount of mist on top of the mountains, which is reflected in the increasingly better reflections as the water is getting calmer. The rain stopped, the wind stopped. So what I'm seeing is an image which I think will work really well as a panorama. So I'm set up here on the tripod. I've got the 24-70 on. I'm not going to go into more technical detail than that, but what I'm going to do is take a series of images of the reflections.
So you've done that piece of the camera. What we need to do is we need to get a little bit of B-roll footage that we can overlay that's showing what you're talking about. So when you're talking about the mist, we'll show a shot of the mist, and we also then need to get a shot of you actually taking the panorama.
Yes.
And then once we've done that, that's when we'll put up the image.
Okay, fair enough. Let's do it.
So now that we've got you talking to camera, we just want a little bit of footage of the lake. And so the important thing to do when we're filming B-roll is to turn the autofocus servo off, so that you can select your autofocus point, put it in there, start filming, and it won't hunt. And then we just need to remember to be quiet so that we get the, well, there is no ambient noise, but we haven't got us talking in the background. And what I do is I film about 10 seconds.
Okay. Is that 10 seconds with a view to using 3 or 4?
Yeah. I'm actually finding this quite difficult this morning. It's quite a lot to try and focus on teaching somebody how to do video and to actually film the process of doing it. But Clive's very patient and he's very, very quick to learn. Anyway, we've stopped what we were doing and we've just come to take a shot, and Clive's getting a shot looking back to Blue Tarn along this little stream here. Right, so now that we're at Lough Tarn, what we need to do is we need to film a piece of camera kind of explaining where we are and what we're going to be doing here.
Right.
So I want you to do that.
Good luck. We'll give it a go.
We'll give it a go.
I've got a friend here to help.
You have. Hello, Duck.
Here we are at Lough Tarn. We have the Langdale Pikes in the background, obscured by clouds, so it's not very easy to see them clearly. So we're going to focus in on a few things around the lake itself. We've got some beautiful reflections. Hopefully we'll be able to get something from it. We've got trees in the distance that are actually draped in nice moss, and hopefully we'll get some decent images. And a duck.
Everyone's a critic. Clive's just setting up his shot here at Lough Tarn, and I've been very impressed with how comfortable he seems to be in front of camera. Anyway, he's going to get a bit more practice now as he takes us through his next shot.
We've got this rather unusual, ridiculously high tripod here, which is apparently bigger than Chris's. Anyway, he asked me to say that. For some bizarre reason, I don't know. But I have got this incredibly large Saruri, if I said it correctly, tripod. I'm using it because the image I want is of a tree reflected in the lake here, but the grass in the foreground it's in the frame if I have the camera any lower. And because I want a long exposure, I do need to actually have something solid for the camera to sit on. I just pressed that while I was taking a shot, but never mind. All will be well. I'll take a second one in a moment. Anyway, the shot is of the tree reflected in the lake, and hopefully it'll all come out in the wash and be a decent picture.
We've now come to Elterwater, and we're down here on the edge of the lake looking towards where the Langdale Pike should be. But of course, as they have been all week, they're actually shrouded in cloud. Now this is where Clive, as an experienced photographer, is really in his element, because he's now not looking at the classic view, he's looking for something else. So let's go and find out what he's doing.
So, we've walked along to, what's this place called, Chris?
This is Elterwater.
Elterwater. We've walked along the track and we've found a nice little island which is behind you guys over there, which has got some nice shadows, plus a tree on my right here which I'm using as a frame for this shot. You won't be able to see it until we actually put it together. It is meaning I'm having to bend down and look a little bit uncomfortable, but hopefully we get a decent shot out of this. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Right, so we've now finished shooting here at Elterwater. And we're going to go to the River Braithey. So what we need to do now is to create a section of video that allows us to move from one place to another. So your challenge is now to find 3 shots that tell that story, to go from here to the Brathy, a beginning, a middle and an end.
Yep.
And you're going to direct that, and we'll put that together in the final video.
Okay.
All right?
Fine.
Let's
Thank
go.
You. Yep.
Yeah, so when you're shooting B-roll, it can be helpful to think in terms of a sequence, an entire sequence. So the purpose of that sequence was to move us from one place to another.
Yeah, yeah.
And it helps with the storytelling. And it might have only taken up 5-10 seconds of the video, but you know, it just adds to the kind of overall story that you're trying to tell.
Yes, I see. I see. Makes sense.
So tell me about this shot, Clive.
Well, I'm trying to actually get this foreground interest of these reeds here, and not clipping into the reflections of the trees that are on the island on the other side over there. The trees are reflecting really nicely. There's a bit of movement in the water, but I'm hoping to level that out by having a large Labrador jump in and make waves by using a 10-stop filter. And the Labrador tsunami is heading this way as we talk.
Right, Kelly Hall Tarn, final location for today, chosen because it is west facing, so good for sunset. And we do have a little bit of colour in the sky. Kelly Hall Tarn is famous for the lone tree, and so we're going to try and look for a composition around that. So over to you, Clive.
I'm lining up on a nice reflection here. We've got some interesting sky. It's got a bit of colour in it, and we haven't had much colour today, or we haven't had much sky today, to be quite frank. But what I'm trying to do is get this colour and this lone tree arced across on the other bank on the opposite side, and a reflection with some reeds in it on this side. And I've set it up deliberately to be very, very underexposed, because I think it looks absolutely stunning, and this could be my favourite picture of the day. So I'm going to take that picture now, and it's done it, and can't say I dislike it. So let's see how it pans out.
So that is it for today, final shot of the day. How did you think you got on? Did you learn a lot about video today?
I didn't know anything about video before you actually showed me today, so yes, more than pleased.
Do you feel ready for tomorrow?
No.
No? What's going to happen tomorrow is that we're going to go off with Clive, and Clive's going to shoot his very first vlog. And so I recommend you go and check that out. There'll be a link in the description below.